Sixer Nation, what is up? Back again with yet another Summer League video Philly take with RB. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe if you've been enjoying all of the content. Let us know what you want to see down below. We are pumping out the videos, RB, and of course, my guy Sean Barnard living it up in Vegas. Sean, how are we feeling?
Absolutely, and probably my favorite video that we're getting into so far is we got a chance to sit down and chat it up with Jared McCain and ready to break down what went down, how he was, all that right here.
Absolutely, but before we get into that, okay, we have the Ferris wheel in the background. Now, first off, look, let me dap up Sean because I see people in the comments like, yo, I didn't even know they're in the same room. Are you guys listening, man? We are here in Vegas, and we promised you we get the Ferris wheel. We're using the lesser camera, but the better camera was not focusing. So we had to, make a tough decision. But we were like, all right, let's get the background in for this one. Well, like my guy Sean alluded to, we got to essentially meet up with Jared McCain after the game, ask him a few questions. Personally, for me, it was my first time doing any type of media stuff. And I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you to Jared McCain.
Yeah.
He was very professional. He was very kind. Did not try to rush us, make us feel like, we didn't matter or that we were just boring media. He actually took the time to, get to know us a little bit, talk about the season, even off camera. So shout out to Jared McCain. I thought he was really a great guy to interview.
Yeah, and shout out to the NBA for opening the door, making this all happen for us, and just a pretty surreal moment for the order of operations and the Jared McCain interview process to go ESPN, House of Highlights, RB Philly take right there.
It was absolutely insane, and seeing him come through. I mean, even some of the other players we saw while we were in there was insane. I mean, Morey walked past us. We saw Nurse earlier. It is just an incredible event to go to and just to kind of see all the different angles at Summer League. But yeah, Jared McCain came through, and really the one thing I wanted to know, I guess, was, coming into a team, win now expectations. Like, you're going to have to produce. What are you working on? Like, what's going to help Jared McCain go from the college standout, the freshman, to being ready to produce day one in the NBA? And let's go ahead and hear his thoughts on that. You're a first-round pick coming in to a team that has win-now expectations. They're ready to go, and you're going to be expected to produce fairly early in your career. So what is the one skill you're honing in on this summer that could really help translate your game quickly to the NBA level?
Yeah, I think there's two major ones. I think defensive side, you have to be able to play team defense and make the right rotations, make the right reads. But also for me, it's just shot making. So making shots is what I've been doing for college and since my whole life. So being able to make catch and shoot threes in the corner when they're helping too much on Embiid or they're doubling Embiid or for Maxey's coming off the screen, just be able to space the floor for them.
So Jared McCain talked about two big things: team defense and just being a willing shooter, being able to make shots. Sean, what was your takeaway from that answer?
Yeah, I love that defense was the first thing out of his mouth. And we know that in reality, what his calling card as an NBA player will likely be dependent on the shot. That is the book on Jared McCain. Is he's an elite shooter. I'm not worried that the shots aren't falling at a crazy rate in Summer League. I'm buying the larger sample size that we saw in college. We've seen this guy straight up take over games with his shooting ability. But I love that he's embracing the defensive side of the ball because that is one of the questions with Jared McCain. How can he fit with Tyrese Maxey? Can he be a guy that is a passable or plus defender at the NBA level? So I love that that's heavy on his mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, it just feels like he's going to fit right into a Nick Nurse system. Obviously, there's questions about this guy, both on and off the court. But from everything we got to see and encounter, he just seems like he's embracing himself.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what it is, he's just ready to be himself, go out there and try to impact winning. So, I really loved the answers that came out of Jared McCain there. And, if he does those things, I mean, like we talked about before, he could be a day one player. He could be ready to plug in. And the Sixers are going to need that. This isn't a freshman who's going to sit for 2 years now. Like, no, we need you to produce right away.
Yeah, and very professional approach, both kind of in the way he handled himself, carried himself, and like his overall outlook here. Like that wasn't just like I'm just going to play my game, I fit and do my thing. Like he clearly has a zeroed in focus on the way he wants to impact and help this team, which is the exact approach that you would hope for.
Absolutely. Now, getting into more of his fit, you went ahead and then asked him about being a playmaker, a primary ball handler, things of that nature, fitting it with Tyrese Maxey.
Personally, you played a lot of off-ball at Duke. Do you see yourself kind of in the future trajectory as more of a true point guard or a combo guard, or what do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like combo. I think I can do both. All my life I've been a point guard, and in college I had to play a specific role. So I feel like wherever I go, I can find my role, whether that's on ball or off ball. So it doesn't really matter for me.
Yeah, and that was one of the biggest things that I was really curious about with Jared McCain. I did go back and watch a little bit of his high school tape, and it was clear that he was much more of like a true point guard back then. At Duke, that was not the opportunity that he was presented with, that he played much more in an off-ball setting, which is why we really saw him take these strides as a shooter. But I was curious kind of his outlook on that. And I think one of my takeaways is just how coachable and how open he is to just helping this team however is necessary. Now, from the on-court side of things, I still buy that he can be a true point guard, and I think that's what I would prefer him grow into those shoes. But ultimately, his outlook for willing to do whatever is a good approach.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's always going to be questions about Maxey and McCain in the backcourt. Can they ever play together? That was really the one knock when he got drafted. Like, why are you drafting an undersized guard? Him and Maxey likely can never play together. However, if we see like an exponential curve and say in 2 years, Jared McCain, starts to become that primary option that can drop 30 points on a given night and can improve on the defensive side of the ball and be willing to be a team defender, there's no reason that this guy can't step in, and impact winning for this team.
Yeah, for sure. And even when talking about like the Maxey fit, like Maxey's not a guy that I would consider a true point guard either. And he's definitely grown in his areas as a playmaker, particularly last year. I thought he took a really notable leap in that category. But I think his best asset is always going to be as a scorer. So there's a place for McCain if he wants to be a table setter for this offense here. So I'm still open for it. I'm not ruling out the Maxey McCain backcourts. I get the defensive concerns, and it's been tough to truly evaluate him on that side of the ball in summer league because of how much zone defense this team has played, and you haven't really seen him in these man-to-man settings. But one of the conversation points, there's always going to be the Dalton Connect comparisons because of how the draft played out there. Like, Dalton Connect is bigger, but wasn't a good defender in college. Like, McCain, smaller, but did play quality defense. So you can kind of give or take how you feel about that. But I think worth noting, and I think there's a chance where there is a world where Maxey and McCain can share the floor.
Yeah, and I mean, Maxey's improved as a defender
Absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
Like he definitely was not on this level. Obviously, we know shooting-wise, but defending as well. Like, he has certainly taken leaps, and I think it's just a part of buying into that culture that we talked about before. Going forward, we actually got to ask another question. But before we do that and we get into my favorite question of the day, a word from our sponsor. Shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Southern New Hampshire University. Funny enough, years ago, I enrolled in college trying to figure out how to obtain a degree in sports. But as a first-generation college student, I had little to no experience, really no guidance at all. And an SNHU would have been a perfect opportunity for someone like me, and maybe it can benefit you, as their online sports management program lets you turn a passion for sports into a degree. You'll learn about the business and economics of sports, sports management principles, and how to gather and analyze data. This degree can help you prepare for many careers like an athletic director, sports information director, marketing manager, and other exciting roles in the sports industry. You'll even be able to tap into SNHU's network of grads, help establish those connections with individuals working in sports-related organizations. SNHU has one of the largest accredited nonprofit online degree offerings in the country. They are radically affordable, and their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. So do yourself a favor, go down to the description, click the link, go to snhu.edu/PhillyTake, and request free info about the program. A real person will even schedule to hop on a call with you and discuss how the program can benefit you personally. Once again, check it out, snhu.edu/PhillyTake. So then we went ahead and I decided to throw one up in the air and ask Jared McCain about who his favorite teammate would be. Who's the guy that he is willing to look forward to playing with in Philadelphia from the point of getting drafted? And go ahead and listen to his response.
Who's one teammate you're really thrilled to play with here in Philly?
You said thrilled to play with?
One teammate you're just thrilled to play with here in Philly.
It's got to be Maxey. I think just good energy, good vibes. Also, smaller guard, just to learn as much from him. Also, Kyle Lowry, though. I've been watching him for a while. It's crazy. I was talking to someone. They said it's year 19 for him, and I'm 20 years old. I was like, I'm 1 year old. He's been in the league every year since I've been alive, since one. So to learn as much as I can from both of them.
How about that answer, man? I mean, obviously Tyrese Maxey, McCain, like the vibes are incredible already. Yeah. We know these guys are probably going to get integrated well. And McCain seems like a guy who he's just filled with joy. Like it's hard to not like him in terms of being a teammate. Obviously if things start to go sour, who knows what could happen, but he just seems like a guy who really embraces just being a part of the game. But what did you take away from not only Maxey, but how about Kyle Lowry as well?
Yeah, I mean, it does just feel like Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey are going to end up being best friends. It feels like that's just how things are going to turn out. That they're so similar. The positive vibes and like the outlook that they bring to life and to basketball in general, I think is infectious to a team and important to have there. So obviously the on-court product still matters more, but I think that's a nice kind of baseline to have. And as far as the Kyle Lowry stuff, I loved hearing that out of his mouth. But I do think there are some direct translations between their two games. That I see some Kyle Lowry in the way that McCain plays, the way that he kind of gets to the mid-range, is excellent at keeping a defender on his hip. And that's a perfect veteran presence to have in the locker room. Kyle Lowry has been around and done it all in the NBA level. He's been an NBA champion. He's been an all-star. He's done all these things. That's a great guy to have in the locker room. And I think that's a large driving force for why the Sixers elected to bring him back. So I loved hearing it from McCain and very excited to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. And I see some of Maxey's game in McCain as well. And I think when it boils down to it, like bringing back Lowry is just a positive for this team.
Yeah.
I know people are frustrated at it. I know, people don't want Nurse to overplay Kyle Lowry. We get it. But learning from that championship pedigree, going through the experiences. I mean, even hearing him say, like, Kyle Lowry has been in the league almost as long as he's been alive. He's just going to pick up on some of these little things. And I think it's almost the same way Maxey's kind of absorbed from some of the other guards that he's played with. It seems like McCain is willing to learn. That's the biggest thing I'm getting out of him so far. And I just thought it was a really good answer. And it seems like he is going to, have a good time with some of these teammates to just get integrated well, not have like this, like it's about me getting drafted. Just seems like he's willing to fit in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you clearly see the difference between guys who have their closed-minded approach, who think they know everything or the way that they play is perfect as is, versus the guys that do approach it with an open mindset and the growth, the way that changes for each of those types of trajectories. So McCain very clearly on one end of the spectrum in the obvious, in the positive way here. And also as far as like the Kyle Lowry conversation, the critiques for Kyle Lowry really should more be thrown on Nick Nurse at this point. That having Kyle Lowry as an option is a great thing for this team. If he's overused, that's another story. But both these things can be true. That he's still ready to be a positive role player, but he was in too large of a role last year. And in a little bit of a defense of Nick Nurse here is that wasn't the plan to play him as much as was the case. If there wasn't the DeAnthony Melton injuries, we would have a little bit of a different tone in this conversation. So I'm happy Kyle's back.
Absolutely. It's almost like what was Nurse supposed to do, especially when Lowry comes in and he's already the second option within a week. So look, maybe McCain could be a piece. We know Nurse has, definitely some interesting things when it comes to playing young guys. But if McCain is showing up and at least just doing one thing well, like being able to knock down corner threes, like you said, or whatever it is, he's going to find his way into the rotation. And the Sixers need it. Quite simple. So I'm thrilled about that. But the final question, I'll let you take it over. It was a fun one to make you remember. And that was incredible.
Yeah, I had to wrap it up and have a little fun. That we see the personality that Jared McCain shows far more than the average NBA player here. That you see, obviously, the social media presence and everything he's done. So I had to hit him with the question of if there was one song or movie. I let him take the direction here. One song or movie that you could not live without. Which would it be? And Jared McCain took it away.
I'm going to hit you with a phone to wrap up.
Let's go.
All right, so you got one song or movie to live for the rest of your life.
One song or movie?
Or movie, your choice.
To live on the rest of my life. I'm going 50 First Dates.
Okay.
Well, we'll just leave that one there. Shout out to Jared McCain. Good vibes, good spirits. And like I said, shout out to the NBA for allowing us to have this access and just to be able to experience these things. There was so much. I mean, we could even just for a minute here, just kind of get in like the players we saw walking by and like just a lot of good people.
And have you seen 50 First Dates before, RB?
I have not. I might have to watch it now. I might have to watch it.
Got some homework.
But yeah, man, like we got to see a bunch of people. Chet walked by, Cade Cunningham, really cool guys. We saw Adem Bona. He was, I think he was doing like one of the 2K things, right?
Yeah.
Like one of those little machines where they kind of like, get the animations or whatever. But yeah, man, a lot of good people. And at the end of the day, Sixers seem like they have a couple people here that are hopefully going to find their way onto the roster. So I'm excited to see what happens. But Jared McCain, a lot of pressure, I'd say, from year one on his shoulders, and we'll see if he can live up to it.
But he does seem like he's ready for it, built for it, and facing things head on. So very much respect the way how he's unapologetically himself. He's got a really good head on his shoulders. I don't think things are going to affect this kid from like an off-court standpoint or getting critiques. The noise is going to be loud, but he's faced things head on. Like we're talking about, he's always been this version of himself.
And hopefully he can keep that mentality on the court and go out there and ball for the Sixers. But hope you all appreciated and enjoyed this behind the scenes content. We'll continue to give you a lot more videos coming out. If you guys could do us a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Of course, go support Sean on all his platforms. We have clips coming out on socials. Follow us everywhere and continue to support the content. And with that being said, we will catch you on the next one. Peace.